So welcome back to their best laptop setup episode. This is episode number 38. And before I begin, just a quick shout out to episode 37's winner, Cameron. You had the best setup in the last video. You get a $100 Amazon gift card, so stay tuned for that email. Again, as I always say in the beginning of every episode, if you're enjoying this series, feel free to hit the like button, subscribe, as it does help the series out. But today we got a great show, a lot of really cool setups to give you some inspiration. Setup number one comes from Billy. He's from Germany and he has a very clean but functional setup. I think the thing that attracted me to his setup was the fact that he was actually using a projector as a second display, which is not a bad idea if you want like a big screen on a more affordable budget, but like the stuff he has on his desk, at least the laptop, is super expensive. Like he's rocking an Alienware M18R1 with an i9-13900HX CPU and an RTX 4090. So he's obviously into gaming, but the overall setup is very clean and simple. There's nothing crazy going on. He does have a bunch of like figurines and statues on his desk that obviously appeal to him and speak to his character. I do like the fact that he's rocking a GMMK Pro gaming keyboard. It's a mechanical keyboard, and then he has a bunch of acacia wood vessels for his coasters. He does use a Razer Viper 8K mouse, a fantastic mouse, which I personally use. And then he does have a webcam that he uses, which is called the Keo Pro, which also happens to be from Razer. Now, his controller of choice is the Xbox Elite Series 2, which I also have. I find it to be a fantastic controller. And the desk that he has everything on is obviously from IKEA. He's using Sony WH-1000XM4 headphones. His speakers have no brand. The chair is from Rantatri Ergo. Never heard of it, but it sounds pretty comfortable. And then of course the projector itself is from a company called Transpeed. Now most importantly, he has a gorgeous dog, okay? His name is Hagen. I want to shout out to Hagen because he's a beautiful dog and I'm glad he gets to enjoy that space with you. Setup number two comes from Jen. He is from Cambodia and he's an architectural student and he wanted to build a budget, productive, and clean corner setup. Now look, Jen, I really appreciate you sending your setup in, but why'd you have to list every single item in the title of the email? That's something my 400-year-old father would do, but I do appreciate you sending it in nonetheless. Either way, look, this is a very simple, clean corner setup. There's nothing fancy going on here. I love the fact that he has it by a window, so he's obviously getting a bunch of natural light. The laptop of choice is an ROG Strix G17 paired with an RTX 3050. So not the fastest laptop, but good enough if you don't mind dropping the settings for certain games. But he has this connected to a bigger 27-inch display from MSI. Now look, I like the pairings. He's using a lot of white. He has a big, massive gray mouse pad with a Logitech RX 350 on his right-hand side. The keyboard is an RK161, which is a 60% mechanical keyboard. And the AirPods that he's using are the AirPod Pros and Moondrop Chew Ones. He does have an iPad Air 4 hiding there somewhere, and along there's just a bunch of little items that speak to his character. Colorful candies in the jars do add some nice color to the overall desk. I love when people do that. Just don't eat them all at once. You're gonna have diabetes by the end of the day. There's a little plant for life. It actually looks real. And then of course he has a boom arm and a microphone in case he needs to perform a Zoom call. Setup number three comes from Pranay. He's from India and he's an automation test engineer. And he says he loves watching setup videos, specifically mine because they're based on laptops alone. And look, this is very interesting. Like if you're into anime, you're absolutely going to love this setup because there's every single anime character in front of you for the rest of your life. Like literally everything from Dragon Ball Z to One Punch Man in these like big cabinets with lights in the background. Look, this is not my personal favorite setup because I'm not into anime, but if you are, this is a good way to keep things clean, but also show a lot of character. Like when you take this kind of setup and you have this clean desk and the lights and the way things are, it just feels good, especially when these things are part of your passion. I love the background. It's simple. It's clean. It has an oval cutout to give the room some shape and then a little picture in the middle to spice things up. Now the overall setup itself it's a little tight. You know, there's a lot of monitors cramped on that desk, but he's making it work. I don't see a lot of wires either, which is really good to see. And he's using a Samsung Galaxy Book connected to an LG 24-inch display. Two of them actually, one in portrait and the other one in landscape. He does have 2 laptops. The other one is for work and one's for personal. He does have a Hydra 10 keyboard, which is a brown mechanical keyboard with brown switches rather. And then he has a Asus Marshmallow mouse, which he plans to upgrade to a Logitech MX Master. Of course he does. Everyone wants one of those mice. Now he does have a Philips 4.1 audio system, and he also has Galaxy Buds 2 when he's in a meeting. He says his room is mostly quiet. There's no outside noise, which is huge when you're in a busy place like India, so he doesn't feel like the need to get a proper external microphone. Anyways, if you're really into anime, you're probably gonna like Pranay's setup. Setup number 4 comes from EJ. He's from the Philippines, and look, the Filipinos, like, they have some of the best setups in this entire series, so you gotta watch out for them. But look, he's a UI UX designer, and this is his setup, and I think it just looks clean, it's classy, it's warming, it's inviting, it just feels good to sit here. You got the white walls, you got the white desk, but you still got some color on it to add some character. You got the plants to feel homey and like you're in nature, but you also have the right type of accessories to give you the full experience. He's rocking a MacBook Pro M1 Pro from 2021. His tablet that's right in front of him is the iPad Air, which he probably uses Sidecar with. He has a little riser that he can put stuff on to give him different layers on the desk, which also allows him to hide things underneath it. It's a smart idea to give you more space. And then he has this massive 34-inch Xiaomi ultra-wide monitor that runs at 144 hertz. He does have a charging hub connected to it, which is the Ugreen GAN 200-watt charging hub, and then he does wear an Apple Watch SE, which obviously he has a charger for. Now look, he's using headphones, the Tautronics SoundSurge 90s, which you can see on the right-hand side, and he's also using a monitor light bar when it's nighttime, in case he wants to turn the lights off but still have an extra light for better ambiance. It's a good way to do that. Webcam is from Rapu, the mic is from Booyah, and his desk itself is a custom-made desk that was created in a factory. He didn't buy it from a store. Overall, I love this setup. This is a good idea if you want something that's super simple, but also very clean. And the final setup comes from Josu. He lives in Venezuela and he works remotely for a US freight broker. Gracias por tu configuración. That's my Spanish. It's terrible. I speak better Portuguese, I promise. But look, he converted his house into an office chill spot / gaming room. And look, he's rocking that 13-inch M1 MacBook Pro, and he has this connected to a Samsung 27-inch 4K monitor. Now look, the desk setup itself, it's clean, it's simple, it's nice, but I think what really attracted me to this setup is the entire space. I love the fact that he's doing 2 different styles of walls. It gives them nice contrast. It gives the room very good character because you have this like bamboo look on the right hand side with 2 windows on either wall to bring lots of light in, but then at nighttime you can kick up the RGB for a completely different vibe. I love the fact that he has a couch there, the TV's right in front of him, it's floating on the wall so it looks super clean. You don't see any wires, but you do have that strip on the right hand side. He has layers by adding shelves above the TV and obviously his computer itself, so it gives him character, like it gives him items to place on these things that represent him as a person. But look, the desk itself has a nice big monitor. He's connected to that MacBook. He has a PS4, soon to be a PS5. He has surround sound from his Sony system. And then when he's just at his desk and he wants to be in his own space, he pops on those Soundcore Q30 headphones and things just melt in his own world. Overall, I dig the setup. I dig the plants. I dig the books. I think it's just a very clean, very personal setup that feels great to be in. Either way, that wraps up episode number 38 of the best laptop setups. If you're interested in submitting your own laptop setup, please send me pictures that are 16:9 aspect ratio. All the instructions will be in the description down below. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next one.